Yeah. Whew. Hey everyone, I'm back. I hope you can hear me. Is there a way to see what I have audio? Yep. All right, you should be able to hear me. Cool. All right, so this live is about AZ104. So it's been requested. AZ104, AZ204. Those two have been very much requested as a study sessions for those two. I already passed those, so I'm already doing this for you guys. If you have any questions, if you join the live stream and have any questions, otherwise, I'm just gonna pick random things to discuss, talk about. There's like a lot of modules for AZ104. I really don't want to read. Oh, I'm sorry. I really don't want to read all of those. The AZ500 modules that I do are so boring. Like, I don't think anybody else is watching those streams besides me and people just randomly hopping in. There's just so much reading. It's good, but it's too much. So virtual networks. I was thinking of maybe doing virtual networks. Compute is fun. Storage is it's basic stuff that you should know. Identity is also I don't know, but prerequisites. What's part of prerequisites? Core concepts, services, core solutions, securities, governance, costs. Not random. All right, we're not gonna do random. What do you want? If you tell me what you want, I'll do what you want me to do. Or we can start from day one, but what are we looking at? Like 4, 8, 12, 20, 25, 31? Not random people. I'm not sure I get this one. I don't know who random people. Oh, random people who watch the streams. Yes. No, it's not random people. It's just people who show up and watch the stream. it's too there's too much reading. I wish there was like I wish there were more stream ready learning paths where you could just go through and do the learning path. Topic wise, I don't care. I need to go over it all again. I did Udemy AZ104, so I need to go over. Yeah, I did Udemy too. I did what's the name? I think it's Scott. His name, Scott Duffy. I really liked his course. I think it's much faster than these are, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, I'm not gonna do identities because that's AZ500 basically. I've done a ton of those, and I'm gonna do more. Yeah, let's start with some storage. Yeah, Scott Duffy, that's the one. Yeah, I highly recommend his Udemy course. He's a good instructor. Do I have it up? Did I just close out of Udemy? Okay. So all right, so let's do some storage stuff. Manage it then. Did I? Wait, am I clicking on the same thing? Manage storage. Prerequisites. Oh, okay. Okay. All right, configure storage accounts. All right, let's do quickly. Implement Azure storage, durable, high availability. Yep. Secure, scalable, managed, accessible. Okay. Storage for virtual machines, unstructured data, structured data. Oh, okay. So basically, it's telling you all of storage. It's not just a storage account. It's all of storage. So storage for virtual machines, disks, zones. Your one sort of big are zones. Okay. So availability zones or geographical zones or redundancy. Okay. All right. So I think. All right. Storage Explorer. Let me see if I can find something about. Okay. Region and availability zones. Let's start with that. Let's look at this. Zone 3. Where are those? I actually did a like 1 minute video about this. What am I looking for? Yeah, let's do this. Let's go to a different directory. Hey, Rishab, how are you? If you haven't seen, I haven't watched it yet, Rishab. Sorry, but Rishab just released a video about how he passed the Terraform and how he failed and then passed the Terraform Associate video. I love Rishab's videos, so I highly recommend you go and watch this video. I will do that. I just haven't had time with 3 streams to get mentally prepared for today. But yeah, last night. So go watch his video. Do I have it? Yes. I'll put it in the chat. So you should go watch it. All right, so let's do, because I don't remember the zones, and let's just create machine learning, sure. I just want to create a storage account and look at the zones. All right, let's create Azure ML. Oh, there's nothing in that Azure ML subscription, so awesome. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Rishab is awesome. I admire Rishab. He's better than I am about this whole YouTube and all that stuff in general. So much work. But yeah. All right, let's look at storage account. Let's look at this whole zone thing. And then side, I'm gonna put Rishab's video in here. He has a lot of videos about certification, so go watch them. Sure, who cares? I don't care. Okay, so here are the zones. So locally redundant. Yeah, so it's server rack, right? It's within the same server rack that you have the same tower. Sorry. Multiple copies in one data center. Geo-Redundant Zone is but you have a copy in multiple zones, right? I wish I had illustrations of this. So locally is within the same data center, like literally locally in the building. Then you have zone, right? So I don't know why they're in that order. Failover, yeah. So zone redundant storage is, for example, in Virginia, ACUS, they have multiple data centers that compose the East US region, right? So now you're going to have multiple copies of your data in different data centers. Geo-redundant storage means you have a copy in different geographies. So you have a copy in East US and East US2 and West Europe and whatever, right? So basically, if the zone gets taken out by natural disaster type of thing, then with geo-redundant zone, like you have a copy somewhere else in the world, but it's only one data center in one region, right? And then you have geo zone redundant storage, and that is just the multiple copies in multiple data centers in the same zone, and then the same thing happens to the geography. So you will have, for example, 3 copies in East US, right? And then you will have 3 copies in West Europe. And so it's like really, like if your data, that's Netflix level stuff, right? If you're yeah, so if yeah, you will never be offline type of thing, right? So, but I wish I had diagrams, redundancy, Azure diagram. I'm just making sure that I get this right. I'm just going to pick random images from here. And thankfully, it's done. How does this look? It's from Microsoft too. Okay, let me look at comments. Yeah, I like the stream too. It's nice. It's more organic than videos, because like I spent like 5 hours editing my videos to make it like perfect the way I wanted to, and here it's like I'm a human being. It's not rehearsed. Make mistakes. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at this diagram. Can I make it bigger? I don't even know what that button is. Google Lens. Ooh. I don't know what Google Lens is, but open image in new tab. Actually, you know what? It's probably in the whole website. It probably has the whole explanation here. Hi. Yeah, sorry. I've seen these messages. Yeah, streaming is very hard. I find streaming to be mentally and physically hard, because you can't have just dead time. And I love these too. I love doing these. I think it forces people to go and study. All right, so cool. So that's what I was saying. So locally redundant zone is like you have one data center or storage cluster or whatever, and you have multiple copy in the same data center, right? Zone. Yeah, so zone, it's like, so if you have, so basically for locally redundant storage, you have to take out the data center to lose all your all your data, right? Or not have access to your data, not necessarily lose, like power outage, for example, doesn't mean you lose, you at least lose access. If you do zone redundant storage, then you have to take out 3 data centers in the zone. Not all zones have zone redundant storage. I mean, you can, I don't know which. If you look at the big ones, so probably West US, East US, maybe Central US, um, Europe, West Europe may have some also. It's a zone. Yeah, so you have to take out the whole 3 data centers, like major power outage in the region, to really be out. Or the entire data center, or the availability zone going down, right? So, but I think it's the same region, availability zone. So data is synchronously replicated 3 times across 3 availability zones in the region. Yeah, so 3 data centers. So a data center can go down, you still go up, you still up. 12 nines of durability, so 99.999999. This is 11 nines of uptime. And then here you have the geo-redundant zone. You have a copy locally. You have locally redundant storage in 2 regions, right? So East US and Central US, for example. And then you have the copy between the 2. So here you're like 16 nines of durability. And obviously, the more nines you have, the more money you pay for this. But I mean, so data is synchronously replicated 3 times within a single storage cluster in the primary region, then asynchronously replicated to the secondary paired region. 3 more copies can sustain node failure within the storage cluster, entire data center, or availability zone going down, or region-wide outage. So DC/zone/region failure would require account failover to restore read and write availability. Okay, 16 nines. And then geo-zone redundant storage. So you have the locally redundant storage plus, actually you don't have locally, you have zone redundant storage. Then you have the geography copy, right? So you have the synchronization. And then in the secondary one, you also have locally redundant storage. Yeah, the more letters you have, the more money you pay for. That's how we think about it. Right, so data centers. Think of it at the level of the data center when you look at zones. So local to this data center, zone data centers in the region, geo-redundant storage, so multiple regions, geographically distant places, right? Then you have multiple data centers in one region and a different region as well. Yes, actually, this is good. I don't know if it's specifically on the exam, but I think, do they have that? It's a very good point. And let me see. I know there's there you go. Sure, BMC. Where did that go? Oh, text here. Oh, thank you. That really helps me a lot. Perfect. I think it's looking at the wrong image. Okay. All right, let's open the image in a new tab. All right, so there you go. So per month, 99.9. So 99 per month is 7 hours. The 99.9C39, 43 minutes of downtime. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's good to talk about this. I think the number of nines don't necessarily describe how powerful this is until you see that table. So if you have 7 nines, right? 7 nines in availability, 3 seconds of downtime per year. Here, if you look at this redundancy, they're telling you the most basic one has 11 nines of durability. That means that you're looking at like less than a second of downtime per year. That's what we're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. Like, so look, the cheapest option gives you less than a second, right? Okay, 11.9, so 7, so it's like 8 is 0.3, 0.03, 0.003, 0.0003 seconds of downtime. And so, and unless you're looking at nanoseconds of availability, 11 nines of redundancy is plenty of availability uh, for the year. And I mean, what is it? Where do we stand? Like, what's the most that you would have? 16 nines. You're talking about nanoseconds, especially when compliance and scalability come into play for end customers when I work for SaaS. Yes, but yeah, I mean, yes. If you have end users, yeah. But at least this one, storage, like basically basic is more than enough for a downtime of a second tolerance within the year, right? So we should be fine with just LRS. I could see if you have like major data streaming, 99.99% availability is important. Like when I did an internship at CERN, and you're getting terabytes of data generated every second, and you can't tolerate to lose like terabytes of data because you're down for like a nanosecond. So that's where this would come into play. Big data. That's the only time I could see GZRS being required when talking big data streaming into or out of this. Netflix might, but not even Netflix, honestly. Would Netflix even need that? Like if you lose 1 second a year of data streaming, that you have no impact on the customer, like less than a millisecond of delay. Okay, cool. So that's zones. I hope this made sense, Boris. Hope this helps. I would highly recommend, you know what? I'm just going to put this link in the chat so it's there. But yeah, so this is going to be, I don't know how much the zone redundancy is. I honestly don't remember. It's been over a year since I've done this exam. I think 2020 was when I did it. Yeah, it was. No, it wasn't. 2021 was when I did it last year. But yeah, I think I think it's not extremely important. It's a huge topic. Okay, well then it's extremely important. Please learn it. But yeah, I don't know in what way it's going to come up on the exam. And all honesty, it's been a year. I forgot about that. But I think availability in general might be there. And I think when you create a virtual machine, I think this I remember availability set, and that's a different different topic when you're talking about availability sets. Yes. Yeah. You need to know that Azure is very high uptime. Unless you have a Azure AD downtime that just prevents you from even accessing the resources. But the resources have a huge uptime until Azure AD is dead. I think it's under advanced. All right, so extensions, host reservation. Where is it? I know it's there. Management, maybe? Monitoring, identity, auto shutdown, backup. Am I missing something? Availability options, yes. Availability zone, scale set, and availability sets. So virtual machines, availability. Let's look at this. I don't even know how to spell things. I think this one, I know this one came up. Availability, zone versus scale sets, and availability sets. I wish they had an image to really show. Availability zones is a physically separate zone within an Azure region. There are 3 availability zones per supported Azure region. So that's the same thing. Basically, you're talking about different. Are we talking about different data centers? Yes, we're talking about data center. So we're talking about data. See, if you have here, if you're requesting an availability zone, that means you have multiple copies of your VM in a different zone. And they basically get replicated, all the data, all the stuff, different power source, network cooling, replicated in the zone so that if the data center itself goes down, or your rack or whatever, then boom, you fail over to the next one. I think one of the important thing is about patching too. You can just patch one machine without being off. And I think it's the scale set that gives you that, Yeah. So this is failover. So availability zones is a failover thing. Scale set is a load balance VMs that you can automatically increase or decrease. One of the advantages of the scale set is patching, right? You can, because you have more than one machine, that are like load balanced for your application, you can then patch one machine, then patch the next one, and patch the next one with zero downtime, which is pretty nice. Yeah, and the scale set is free. The VM is what you pay for. Virtual machine in the scale set can also be deployed in multiple availability zones, a single availability zone originally. Yeah, availability set, logical groupings of VMs that allows Azure to understand how your application is built to provide for redundancy and availability. We recommend that 2 or more VMs are created within an availability set to provide for high available application And to meet the 99.95 Azure SLA, there is no cost for availability set itself. You only pay for each VM. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So basically this one, right? So, okay, availability zones, multiple VMs in different data centers in the same region. But it's a failover type of thing. So it's not like I don't think you pay for each VM. You pay more per VM, but you don't have multiple VMs running at the same time. Complicate apps. I think that's what I'm understanding. Okay, scale set, multiple VMs. You can also have them in different places, but scale sets is basically load balanced VMs in the same data center, and you can add availability zones um, to 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 your scale set. What is this? Okay, yeah, okay. So availability zone. So in the region, you have multiple data centers, right? And they're all connected together, and that's your zone. Then geographical availability zone is like you have a different region, right? Zone, different region, but whatever. And these are the only ones who have availability zones. I don't know that you need to know these specifically. Um, I would keep the big ones, East US, West US. I'm surprised that West US 1 doesn't have that. But, I mean, whatever. Central US, West Europe, South Africa, and Asia. Nothing in China, though. Oh, no, there's China. I'm surprised by this, that there's a China North. I thought China, you had to have a completely different cloud provider agreement to be in China. Maybe that's what it is, and they just put it in the back end or whatever. Okay. Availability set, logical grouping of VMs. Let me see if I can find a image. Yeah, China is a third party. I just didn't know that they had like a region like this. I mean, they keep adding new regions and all that stuff regularly, so. All right, see you in an hour. See you 2 hours. All right, see you, Rashad. All right, let's see if I can find like availability zone. How about this? I just don't know if I need to explain more because I made it more confusing, or if it's fine. Oh, I like this. Fault domain. So in availability set, you have different machines in different racks. So that if one rack, so availability set protects you against rack failure. I mean, it's probably said here, but I don't read things. Yeah. So zone, multiple data centers. So every time it says zone, different data centers. Geography, different regions. And then local, then it really depends. Anything that is not zone or region is redundancy based in the data center itself. So either a different rack or a second copy on the same rack or whatever. So that's just something to that's how I memorized it. I remember it. So yeah. Okay. What else has availability? Network. I don't think network has redundancy. I think network is just like, yeah, it just works, dude. Network is the one thing on the exam that does not have redundancy. Yeah, you just do a region. CITR, security, tags. Yeah, network doesn't have that. Let's go back. I actually never put Rishabh's video in that thing. So go see Rishabh's channel. I'm just going to put that here. Great videos, great content. Yeah, he puts out great content, and it's getting like better and better and better. So, highly recommend you go check out his channel. Okay. Oh, is there anything about Cosmos DB in Azure 104? Storage accounts, Bob storage security, Azure File. Oh, Azure File Sync is in there. Azure File Sync is one of my big projects at work. I would consider myself an expert now. Storage account, shared access signature, Storage Explorer. Oh, that's cool that they go for Storage Explorer a little bit. All right, identity, manage storage, network backup, compute. Okay, so there's no. Okay, so it's Azure 204 that has Cosmos DB with latency and it's latency and something else. Okay. Next topic. Do we want a next topic? I'm here all day, people. I'm kidding. I'm not here all day. I don't have the mental bandwidth for this. All right. Let's look at compute. You know what? Let me share my expertise of file sync, so this way you at least get to experience it. I might as well just share Azure File Sync. Okay. Azure Files and Azure File Sync. Identify when to use your Azure Files versus blobs. Okay. Configure Azure File Shares and File Share Snapshots. Identify features and usage cases for File Sync, and identify File Sync components and configuration steps. Okay. So, why are you going away? All right, let's go. Let's do this. So command uses a file storage replace and supplement. Files can be used to completely replace or supplement traditional on-premise file servers or NAS network attached storage devices. Ooh, bit too big. Access anywhere, yes, except if your ISP blocks the port. Very common problem that Azure Files has is that ISPs block the port, and I think it's the SMB port, which is no, that's file sync 443. 445. Okay, so close. 445. So if your ISP blocks port 445, which is the case for some ISPs, Azure Files will not work for you, and that's why you would use Azure File Sync. So yeah, and so something to keep in mind. Not all ISPs, even enterprise ones actually. At work, I was trying to make it work with SMB, and just wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. The ISP actually had that port blocked. So important. I don't know if it's going to come up, but it's something that is a very common error for Azure Files. Lift and shift to the cloud and expect file share to store files, application, or users data. Yeah, Azure File Sync. Yeah, if you want to use File Sync, you have to use Azure Files. Azure Files, shared application, storing shared application settings, for example, configurations files. So do we need an agent tab? Yes, so you do need an agent. So Azure File Sync would only work on servers. I've asked for Windows 10 because it would basically be huge. I mean, for so many things, having the ability to synchronize multiple endpoints like OneDrive without using OneDrive would be huge in a lot of circumstances. So yeah, I'll look at it later. Diagnostic data, okay. I don't see why any of this would not be good for blobs, but tools and utilities, sure. Yeah, because then you can just mount them. Okay. Files, SMB, and when you want to do lift and shift, and for REST. Yeah, so if you want blobs, it's very good for REST. If you want to use just system.io, then files. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so flat namespace, directories for files, file shares for Azure Files, container, multiple virtual machines, and Azure Disks, single virtual machines. So, okay, Azure Files offer fully managed file share in the cloud that are accessible via the industry standard SMB protocol. Azure File Share can be mounted concurrently by cloud and on-premise deployments of, yeah, if your ISP allows it again. Manage file shares. Yeah, you can map. That's good. They give you the PowerShell script. For Mac, I think they give you a shell script. Mounting file share Linux, secure transfer required. Yeah. A snapshot, very easy to take snapshot. You just have to. Do I have the storage? Actually, let's just create a new storage account and let's test. I'll show you. Let's be more interactive than just reading. Shared learning. You know what? Do we want to set up fast sync? I just have to create 2 virtual machines. Yeah, let's do this. A lot of resource groups. Yeah, I tend to split up everything by resource groups and subscriptions. I also have a lot of subscriptions. Yeah, because that's how I roll. Those were storage accounts. Yes, that's what you were seeing. But I also have multiple subscriptions and storage accounts, and yeah, 20 storage accounts. Different. I try to keep my storage account for the specific use. It doesn't cost more to have multiple storage accounts. So if I keep each storage account based on the use that they have, then I don't have to. Yeah. Do you take notes or flashcards to study for the exam, or do you just read it and hands-on learning? Well, I have the advantage of it being my job, so hands-on learning definitely. I'm a horrible student. I just want you to know that, and that's the reason I have these streams, because I'm a horrible student. And no, I don't do flashcards. I don't do notes. I do hands-on. I try to master it. I read other people's work. I am not Rishab. I'm not Gwen. But if you want notes, Rishab has notes for everything. Let me see if I can find his notes. Rishab.cloud. He does not have notes for this specific exam, but oh yeah, MS Learn has sandboxes too. Good point. Yeah, it's a notes, Reshab's notes. It has LPI, Linux Essentials, Terraform Associate, AWS SysOp, AWS Solutions Architect Associate, AWS Developer Associate, Azure Fundamentals, OCI Foundations Associate, and AWS Cloud Practitioner. But I wouldn't be surprised if he came up with more notes because he's Rishab and he's amazing. Yep. I highly recommend hands-on too. Truly good. I should have gone over more of the storage account and what I did to create that and all the settings. As you can see, you have ECUS, you have the region, you have LRS, general purpose v2. Let me go and look at this, because so this way we can have like the whole. So if they ask you specific questions, you basically have it memorized. The way I see it is it's not about memorization, it's about understanding. A lot of the questions on the exams, a very large number of questions on those exams are not what is XYZ. A lot of them are, here's a situation, what would you do? What would be the right solution? What would be the right tool, whatever, for this situation? So it's very situational and it's very contextual. And so it's not about memorization, it's about understanding why and how you would use the tools that Azure provides to you, if that makes sense.
I'm not sure I understand.
Oh. Well, apparently Siri does not understand. Um, okay, let's go quickly. Okay, storage account name, of course, this is a HTML URL. Yes, it all starts making sense once you get an understanding of how Azure works. Okay, the storage account name, that's URL. This is letters, numbers, all lowercase. Just, I don't know if they will require you to know how to name a storage account, but letters, numbers, all lowercase. That's it. Super simple. And I think maximum 24 characters. I'm not sure. So yes, I would recommend AZ900 too. You don't have to take the exam. I did not take the exam for AZ900. I did take the class. It's not a requirement for anything, but it does cover a lot of things like regions and zones and things like that that you should understand. So, all right. So performance standard, honestly, I don't think you need anything more than that. Redundancy, we went through that already. Um, Multiple copies, one data center. Multiple copies, different regions. Multiple copies, multiple data centers in one region. Multiple copies in multiple data centers in one region, and an extra copy in a different region with multiple copies in that region in one data center. Okay, good. Got this. Usually LR is plenty fine. Um, okay. All right. So advanced. Um, yes, requires secure transfer for SAP operations. Yes, but blog enable blog public access. I said yes, but yeah, whatever. Storage account key access. Yes, yes. SAS is actually part of the exam too. Default to Azure Directory. Default to Azure Active Directory authorization in the portal. Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Yes, if you want big stuff and accelerated namespace for data lake, a secure file transfer for uh, access here, enable large file share. Okay, this allows you to have file shares up to 100 terabytes. Otherwise, I think it's um, 10, 10, 5, 10 terabytes default. Um, at work, we need that. In general, you may not need that. Networking, obviously, you can access private endpoints, network routing, data protection, point-in-time restoration. Here, you can also do all your. Oh no, I thought Azure Files had it. Oh yeah, they have self-delete. Um, Self-delete for blobs, so it means like you will keep it for 7 days. You delete something, you will keep it for X amount of days. Tracking version tracking for blobs. Do I do versioning? I don't do because it's only. Sorry. Do I do versioning? No, because I don't really use blobs for work. It's not. We have plenty of backups. We have snapshots and we have backups of our storage. Immutability support. Yes. So, okay, one thing with that, and I know it came up at work too, is let's say you have a ransomware that gets access to your data. When you do version level immutability support means that in order to rewrite something, you will get a new version, right? Um, Pretty sure. All right, encryption syntax. Okay, cool. Let's go back to what I just created. Where is Is that the one that I just created today? Is there any data in here? 312 now? Okay, sure. That's the one I just created. Okay, let's create a file share. Yeah, we'll have fun. Let's do test file share transaction optimized. Okay, let's talk about these quickly. I don't know if you're gonna have to have the tiers essay. Yeah, if your criteria is essay for which storage account they created, all my storage accounts end with essay because storage account. I do have a naming convention, so that's yeah. Okay, so transaction optimized, most expensive, but the advantage of transaction optimized is you do not pay for data transfer. You have high storage cost for storage data at rest. You have no cost for read-write um, operations and data transfer. I think you have no cost for read-write, and you definitely do not pay for data transfer on transaction optimized. Great tier to put your files in if you're doing a data migration or recovering data from the cloud. Hello. All right, hot is lower storage cost. So it's the same thing more or less. You don't have transaction optimized in blobs. In file shares, you do. Hot is the same thing. So higher you are, the more expensive you are, obviously, and then lower, the cheaper. But so higher on this list, higher here. If you're here, storage cost high, read operation cost, read writes, IO operations low, right? When you go down to cool and archive tier, there's no archive tier yet for files. When you go to cool, storage cost very low for data at rest, operation cost very high. So it's really a balance between how much are you going to read your data, and you have to basically balance the tiers to make sure that you keep both costs, the read-write operation low and the storage, storage low. For file sync, if you only have one server, for example, you will write data, but you will not read it. So cool is perfect for Azure file sync. Does Azure have intelligent tiering? Yes and no. So the answer is yes and no. And let me create this file share. Okay. No large file share, which I did not enable in this account creation. Maximum size 5 terabytes. I don't care. I'm not going to put more than that, but it might be something that will come up. Like Mary has to store like 6 terabytes of data. She needed to enable large file shares. 5 terabyte limits. All right. Does it have intelligent tiering? Yes and no. Let me do a container. Actually, you know what? I don't actually need to go to a container. I can go here. So it has it for blobs. So I think if you go to blob inventory, oh, no, okay. Where is it? Lifecycle management, here. So when you go to lifecycle management in your storage accounts for blobs only, you can go and say rule blob. So based on the blob type and subtype, oh, come here. Look, Boris wants to say hi. Say hi to Boris. Hi. All right. So here, you can go here and you say this applies to this, and then you click next, And then when the blob were last modified to 30 days, then you can delete, or you can move to cool or move to archive. So you can tier blobs like this. You can lifecycle your blobs like this so that it's intelligent, because you can't do it at the blob level. You can't do the same. You can't eat my finger. You can't do the same thing for files. So very good question. Yes. All right, so I have this. I'm going to create virtual machines now. Because I'm going to show you file sync at work. We're going to create 2 virtual machines. Okay, subscriptions. Let's go learning. We're going to do AZ104. We're going to call it Carmen VM1. I'm just going to put Windows Server Data Center Azure Edition. Is it cheaper? Sure. D2, what's the loading price? 137 per month. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to stop it. Caroline. Okay, public and bound, allow RDP. Yes. Would you like to use it? No. No, we're just gonna use like standard hard drive. I'm not a millionaire. Encryption tasks, I'm fine with that. We don't need anything else. Networking. Sure, we'll put them on UVNet, subnet, sure. We're gonna have a public IP address. Be careful, people. Public IP addresses are default when you create a virtual machine. So if you create that on your corporate network, you have a public IP address, the whole world has access to your corporate network, basically. Not really, but basically. All right. Management. Okay, and I think I can just create here. Do I have dogs here? Nope. A lot of dogs. Yeah, I can use. Please remind me that I have to delete these machines. Carolyn VM1. We're going to do Carolyn VM2 in a second. I don't know why I drank wrong. All right, this is another virtual machine. And the reason I'm doing that, I don't need another virtual machine. I just need one. Let's do file sync. Okay, now we need file sync. This might cost me $5, but it's fine. Azure file sync. Actually, no, it's not $5. The first endpoint, the first server endpoint for file sync is free. Then you are paying $5 per server endpoint for additional. Okay. My problem is I don't actually know where I created this resource. Actually, it doesn't matter. Does it matter? What matters here is the file sync service has to be created in the same region as the storage account. So keep that in mind. I messed up at work where I created storage account in ECUS2, which is not a standard region, and put lots of things on file sync in there, and then kind of messed things up. Okay, so East US networking. So now you can do private endpoints for Azure File Sync. I don't know how this works, but you can just basically make it available in a local network without going through the internet. It will go through the internet now. Right. What time is my next stream? 1 p.m. 1:30 p.m. Okay, good. Good. All right. Let's go here. Yeah, let's look at virtual machines. Status is not ready because it's just started, basically. So if you want to connect, you can just click connect and you can download the RDP file right here, which is very practical. Yep. What else is in there that we could talk about while we wait for things to be created? All right, let's see. All right, what do we have about compute? Configure virtual machine, portal, connect to virtual machine, okay. Windows, Linux, okay. Availability, extensions, okay. App service, splendid app services, containers, Kubernetes. Wow. Oh yeah, that's right. Kubernetes wasn't there. Not much though. Hello. Oh, first person to call me Carol. It's that's the French nickname for Caroline. Create a virtual machine. These were not there that I remember. Okay. Not much to talk about. Let's go. We're going to do file sync. Oh. Yeah, we're fine. All right, we have the virtual machine. Come on. All right, let's go here. All right, so now we need to get file sync. Do I need to refresh this? Was this like not created at all? Not sure have been created. Oh, there you go. File sync. All right. So registered servers. Copy this link. Then we go and we download the agent. No, we're not going to be discoverable for the whole internet. Sorry, this is a brand new machine with hard drive disk, and yeah, it's gonna be slow. Confirm. I don't care. I really do not care, Microsoft. Download this for Windows Server 2022. Next. Now we have the agent. So what you do is you install the agent. I don't know if file sync troubleshooting is part of the exam. It's an odd thing to do, but hopefully it will be fast enough to show you. All right, I am planning to switch my career in Azure Cloud. I don't have any experience. Can you please help me? How should I start from scratch, and certification need to be done? Well, all right, the question really, I think the first question is, where are you switching from? Because if you're switching from IT to IT, actually, I'm going to keep this here. If you're switching from IT to IT, it's much easier. It's much easier to do. If you're switching from non-IT to cloud, I think having certifications would help. Just the basic this one administrator and yeah, Azure's fundamentals and administrator. I would say if you don't have any experience, if you don't have any experience to start with, having fundamentals would help to actually have the certification. In that case, Azure Administrator would help, but I would also recommend doing some projects. Is it Learn to Cloud that guide? From Learn to Cloud that guide. They have a lot of good. I think that's from Gwen and Rishad. Lots of good resources on how to get you started into cloud computing. If you have IT background, I think just get the certifications. If you have it in your job, try to work with that team. Yeah. All right, here. Collect data necessary to identify and fix problems. If you don't check that, the difficulty is this is now going to be, it's not going to communicate as much data back to the storage sync service. And so you may have some issues with troubleshooting. And then our servers will appear here once we're done. So you install it, then you configure it. And then I think I'm going to do lunch after this. My voice and my brain both need a break. All right, come on, little file sync. You know what? While we wait, we can do that. We can create a sync group. So the sync group is a combination of a cloud endpoint. Sorry. Sync group. So sync group is a combination of cloud endpoint, which is your storage. This is your file share. That's your cloud endpoint, and a server endpoint, which is the server, obviously. Then you can add a server endpoint once you register one. I really like doing these live streams and these certification streams. I think it's I hope it's helpful to you. It's definitely helpful to me to like go over the material, but they take a lot out of you. Did It's fun though, and now your cloud endpoint is good. Come on. Yeah, I'm gonna be soundproofing this room. Hopefully, it will be nicer, but these are still like they compress the foam, so instead of being like inflated like this, it's like flat, so it has to inflate before I can do anything. And hopefully the sound quality overall in this room is going to be much better. All right, now that we have this, we go to Azure File Sync, we do the storage sync agent updater. You can only register a server once. Fail to download updates. Oh, okay, because started twice. Okay. Let's. Okay, Azure Cloud. So okay. Sign in. All right. Give me 1 second. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'll do this. Look at my face. It's giving me grief. It's giving me grief. Send notification. Authenticate. Let's go back. All right, Azure subscription. We're going to learning, resource group, 104, store and sync. Then you register. It's doing its thing. We can go back here. Registered servers, and hopefully there you go. Boom, it's there. It's registered. Now, okay. Now we're going to add. Sorry, I want to do this. New folder, FS. Okay, we're gonna take a sync group. You'll see this while I do this for a second. In a second, we're gonna take our sync group. Now we're going to add a server endpoint. So we have cloud, which is the file store, one cloud endpoint only per sync group. You do your VM, you see FS. Yeah, we don't need this. Okay, data sharing. So basically, if you enable this, then you can say, okay, I need my volume, the whole volume, right, to 20%. Or you can say the space. But one thing I learned is like the policy applies to the volume. So if you have multiple sync groups, that have different policies on the same volume, right? So if I do one that I'm like, okay, I don't need this one, I'm just not going to keep it locally. I'm going to say 100% free space for that volume for that sync group. Then I'm going to take another sync group on the same volume, and I'm going to keep it to 20% because I want more of the data locally. The effective volume policy is going to be 100% free space because it takes the maximum amount of free space for the whole volume, regardless of the sync group. So something to keep in mind. Okay, you may be trying to create a server endpoint on the server's system volume. Please note that you will not be able to enable cloud tiering on the system volume. All right, honestly, don't care. New folder. Okay. Cloud tiering, sorry. Let me say what cloud tiering means. Cloud tiering means that you take a file, you upload it to Azure, then once it's in Azure, you remove the data locally on the server, but you keep a stub so the file still appears there and it points to the cloud. When you try to access that stub file on the server, the file sync agent is contacted and told to retrieve the file from Azure. So what happens when you do this is like basically you open the file sync gets the file, downloads it for you, and once it's downloaded, you can then open the file. So if you have huge files like a video file, for example, that's steered to the cloud, it's going to take forever for the file to be retrieved, downloaded, and then allow you to open it. So something to keep in mind. Okay, now we're going to see D. It honestly don't matter, doesn't matter. Initial sync, these parameters may not matter. Fit everything or okay. Namespace, only just yeah, the file content won't be recalled. If you do namespace first, you'll recall the file content as well. Okay, let's do this. Once it's done, let's look at our storage account. We're going to go to file shares. We're going to look at test. And as you can see, test is empty. I mean, it's still loading, but you can see that it's empty. Okay. This .system share information that's created by file sync is just what it's using to keep everything synchronized. So let's go back to our virtual machine. Now this is here. We're going to do new text document test.txt, whatever. And now, hopefully it's going to be fast enough to refresh regularly as we go. There you go. So now we've created our endpoint here. We did not map the drive. We did not map the file share. We use file sync. The file is here locally, and it is synchronized with the cloud. So that's what file sync does. And now if we go here, I think it's already all done, clear. Let's look at some metrics. Let me say file synced. Okay, it just hasn't hit the metrics yet. But in theory, file synced, you will see one here. So I hope I made some of file sync a little bit clearer for you guys. I'm going to have to end it here because I need to eat. I need to rest for the next stream. So file sync, whatever. Since I'm thinking about this, let's do this. We're gonna delete these resources. Okay, yeah, because I can't afford this. All right. Thank you, everyone who tuned in. Thank you, everyone who's watching it later. And yep, enjoy the rest of your day. And if you want more streams like this, let me know, and I'll definitely come back on and do some studying sessions for whatever certification you want that I can help you with. All right. See you.